Clerk, if we could get a roll call, please.
Mayor Baxter.
Here.
Commissioner Flores.
Present.
Commissioner Marino.
Here.
Commissioner Powell.
Here.
Commissioner Sacks.
Here.
Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Vice Mayor Woodward.
Here.
Thank you.
If you're able, please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear God, bless this meeting convened in goodwill for the benefit of those we serve. Give us the strength to overcome the obstacles we shall surely meet, and the wisdom to make good use of the opportunities we shall surely find. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to receive and file proof of publication. Motion by Commissioner Flores, second by Commissioner Weiss. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that motion carries 7-0. Any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
Yes, Mayor. There is a minor amendment to the last item 4A2, the County-wide Transportation Master Plan Contract Amendment. It's in the blue form sheet for you, and it's really to just minor grammar, and then also to indicate that the funds are available in the excess funds from the impact fee study. So with that, everything else remains the same. And
Thank
we
you.
also included the partially executed signed form from WSP for you.
Do we have any postponements?
No, ma'am.
And I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Commissioner Marino, a second by Commissioner Flores. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 7-0. Am I reading this correctly? Do we not have consent?
In the land use, there is no consent.
Okay. On to, I guess, public hearings. 3A1.
Yes. This item before you is the county-initiated and is requested by the Westgate CRA Community Redevelopment Agency. It's to further redevelopment, and the request is to add 3,000 additional units to the density bonus pool that would allow an expedited application, so the applicant will not need to go and do a comp plan amendment through the planning division. They can go to the zoning division through the quasi-judicial process to ask for additional density for the area. The density pool is reviewed by the CRA and their CRA board, and as they go through the process, they'll be involved with county staff in doing that. So this is in anticipation for the next 20-year horizon for their development or redevelopment plans. And this is also anticipation of the larger parcels such as the Kennel Club. It's 47 acres. They are proposing 1,200 units. The first 400 has already been approved and seen by the board, and the remaining units will be dependent on having these bonus density. There are some traffic concerns, and I believe the CRA will be able to explain a little more, but we've asked as part of the text amendment to include an annual reporting and monitoring of some of the projects that they will need to be involved in, so that there are traffic mitigation projects that could be monitored along the way as these projects come online. They are not anticipating all of this coming right now, but in anticipation of that, we want to make sure that, traffic, projects are addressed with planning and also with the engineering department. With that,
I'm sorry, which districts are included in this?
this is District 2 and District 7.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve item 3A1.
I have a motion by Commissioner Weiss and a second by Commissioner Powell. I have some issues with this project. We have failing roads in Palm Beach County. But I guess before I go into why I have issues with this, I'm going to let the two speaking cards come up and say something.
Yeah, we have two individuals. We have Jackson Risbara, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name, and Amelia Sherfield.
Good morning. My name is Jackson Risbara. I'm at 221 Royal Ponciano Way in Palm Beach. I'm speaking on behalf of Frisbee Group and our partners at Terra. As active investors in the CRA through the Palm Beach Kennel Club redevelopment, we've seen positive momentum build and take shape, and strongly support the CRA's proposal to expand the density bonus pool. This initiative will help attract quality investment, support housing and economic growth, and advance reinvestment within the CRA. We appreciate the CRA's leadership and look forward to continuing our partnership and strengthening the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please state your name and address for the record.
Amelia Sherfield, 422 Churchill. Good morning, Mayor Baxter, Vice Mayor Woodward, and to your fellow commissioners. I'm Amelia Sherfield. I am the program director at WPB Go, and Jonathan Hopkins could not make it here today, but we wanted to comment on the bonus density program for Westgate CRA. We think West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County aspire to be a world-class destination for visitors and employers and the talent that they employ. And we seek to transform access and mobility from a challenge to a strength for our region. And to that end, we support programs, policies, and initiatives that improve employment capacity, cost of living, and quality of life. We want to convey WPB Go's support of the bonus density program initiative proposed by the Westgate CRA. The Westgate area is positioned to provide a high volume of naturally occurring, market-driven, workforce-priced housing in close proximity to West Palm Beach, which is the largest employment center in the county. In a region with a shortage of homes that people can afford, this program adds workforce housing very close to gainful employment. Much of this housing can occur through the private sector without extensive public subsidy because the economics work here. This opportunity for market-driven housing capacity is definitely something that we should capitalize on. Without solutions like this, people will live farther away, spend more money on gas, more time in congestion, and less time with their families. Housing this close gives people the opportunity to get to work without adding to congestion. Buses every 15 to 20 minutes connect workers quickly to downtown West Palm Beach and the airport, and some Westgate residents already bike to jobs in downtown West Palm Beach. These options are not available to workers who are commuting from farther away. And we hope you support the bonus density initiative proposed by the Westgate CRA. This is one of the most common sense market-driven ways to increase housing choices close to job opportunities in our community. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so much. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks for giving me my time here, too. I did have a question. We talked about some of the traffic mitigation that you're putting in here, and some of my concerns were before with parking and, just overall traffic, because I know by doing this, we're basically taking it from comp plan and moving any future decisions to zoning. And by doing that, zoning, we can't consider traffic. So what are we putting into this to sort of protect that moving forward, to have a project that, we may come to in a few years where we realize we did not want to address this, or we're not addressing it today, but we're not giving ourselves the ability to address it in the future. How do we protect ourselves from that?
So I can probably have Quasi explain some of the pinch points that are, that are at failure at this point, and how some of the mobility plans and some of the other suggestion that is in the Westgate mobility plan would address some of these areas. Again, this is in your packet on E41, which is traffic's response. And then the CRA's traffic mitigation work plan is also, the actual mobility plan is on Exhibit 7. And then Exhibit 8 is the work plan that we are looking to review annually or periodically. That is on page E51. So Quasi can also, and Kashid, if from a planning perspective.
They will have to meet, any future project coming in will have to meet the concurrency standards. But as you know, concurrency standards are now pretty much reduced. You can meet with prop share. But yeah, that's pursuant to the legislations, they'll have to meet. They have a transportation concurrency exception area, which gives them limited number of trips in that, which can also be utilized. But if there's a big project, it can also just go through the regular concurrency and prop share project.
So my question is, how many of these roads right now would already be above the threshold, the level of service, where we're above capacity now, which means it, and this is something I've struggled with this whole time. If there's a road that's failing, and for those listening, I'm not saying potholes failing, it's level of service failing. If it's failing, we cannot hold the new development accountable for additional failure because what's failing is failing. But it puts us in a bad situation moving forward. So how, if you could address how much of this area is already beyond that?
Yeah, they have a proposed, mobility plan for the next 20 years, divided into short-term, mid-term, and long-term plan. And they have developed a more detailed program for the first 5-year program, for the first 5 years. Like sidewalk improvements, because most of the major projects will fail regardless of whether this project is coming on or not. So there will be background failures. So, and most of these roadways are already fully built out. You cannot probably expand it anymore. So the solution will be basically to do mobility, type of improvements. So they have provided some mobility type of improvements like building sidewalks, bike lanes, and also on-demand, local shuttle bus programs that will connect the intra-CRA district with the bus stations and major employment centers. So it will be basically mobility type of improvements that they are proposing, and they have allocated some funds in their first year program, and also have a more detailed program for the first 5 years.
So are we phasing these units to come in, or they need to hit the benchmarks of their mobility plans before some of these get released, or are we just releasing them? And
they don't have any phasing plans at this moment. And these are not coming right, next year or in 1 or 2 years. This is a 20-year plan they have. So, and again, each project, when they come in, they will have to meet their traffic concurrency. So there might be some other improvements that will result from the traffic report for those each individual project.
But just to be clear, if they're coming in at a level of service F road or intersection, we can't deny that because of it.
If it is already failing, correct.
Yeah.
If it is already failing, if they cause the failure, then we can, they have to fix it. We can.
However,
get a
if
crop share.
under comp plan, we can deny, under zoning, we cannot.
Yes.
Correct.
And this is effectively moving this from the future. This will not come to comp anymore. It goes to zoning. I have concerns about this. Okay.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So I want to start by saying that I have taken the time to, because I had some questions and concerns about what was happening in Westgate. However, I did a tour with Alisei and his team. Were you there, Tui?
No, I think Denise may have been.
Denise, okay. But anyways, I did a tour. I got the history of the area, where it was to where we're at today, and where they're hoping to get to. And I think that plays a vital role in what they're trying to achieve and what's before us. I understand the concerns of Commissioner Woodward about, approving it here as opposed to zoning. However, based on my understanding and what I saw, this area needs to be revitalized. It has gone as a sore eye for a long time. We had a lot of issues in there. And I think what the CRA is trying to do, first of all, it's not going to be all done at once. And if we have concerns about failing roads, then we need to address those. I think that should be addressed. But, just because we're approving this density bonus, it doesn't mean that they're all going to get built tomorrow. You still need, and they're trying to get more redevelopment and development in here. And it's not easy because it takes time to transform a community. With that being said, I am very supportive of this, and I will always defer to the commissioners that represent this particular area. So I believe it's 2 and 7, because I feel that they know their community best. So I will wait to hear from both commissioners on this particular item, but if you have not done the tour, I was out there driving around for about 2 hours. Strongly encourage you to do that, because I think it's eye-opening. It'll give you the history of where that community has been, where they're at today, and where they're trying to get to. And I think we owe it to that community to do everything within our power to help it get revitalized. So those are my comments, and I would like to hear from the district commissioners.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And I appreciate the concern of my colleagues today and as it regards to traffic and mobility. And I appreciate the comments of Commissioner Flores. This is an area, as you know, relatively close to downtown. It is underutilized area. The county for probably now 20 years has been investing in improving the infrastructure at Westgate. It started with drainage, sewer, water. All those things were not at adequate levels of service, and those have been addressed over time now. As it relates to traffic, and this is an area that really has the opportunity to use transit and mobility. To have, in talking to the folks at the CRA, you have the ability, because of its proximity for downtown, to have a real transit system that works, where you can have buses, small shuttle services running and making that trip, because you're talking about 3 miles to get into downtown. And this is something that doesn't exist virtually anywhere else, and this land is primed for redevelopment opportunities. By doing this today, it provides some certainty, not 100%, but some certainty that this type of redevelopment can move forward without having to go through comp plan, which, as we know, it can be expensive. And I believe this is going to will be what we need to do for this area to see the investments needed. And if you look at what they're proposing, I think one of the most interesting proposals there is that is converting alongside the L2 Canal roadway and making that connection to Australian. That would not only provide relief from Okeechobee and Belvedere, but it would serve other parts of the county as well that are trying to come into this area. So I'm fully supportive of what they want to do, which is, of course, why I made that motion. But this is something we've been looking at for a while now, and I would ask for your support today.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. Quick question. We're talking about 4,300 units. Do we have a time frame at which these would come out of the ground?
Please state your name for the record.
Yes, good morning. My name is Elise Michel. I'm the executive director of the Westgate CRA. We don't know when they will be coming, but not anytime soon. We're working with the Kennel Club on the first phase for 400 units. Those units will be built and occupied after 2029. If someone were to submit an application right now, it will take 4 or 5 years before those units are built. We don't have an application for a major, for any other major housing development right now beside the Kennel Club and the Frisbee Group. So it's going to take, I would say, at least 5, 6 years before you see any significant housing development resulting from the adoption of the bonus density units today.
Thank you. And I think, given the worries of our board about traffic, the fact that this product isn't going to be delivered for 5 years or so, and the fact that we are actually talking about a transportation master plan, which hopefully will include 4,300 units for this development, I think that would behoove us. I mean, I think that's what the whole idea of the countywide transportation master plan is, to find out what people are going to do and where they're going to build. So including this would be a great idea. It's a reasonably priced community, and it's what we need here in the county. We also talk about TODs, transit-oriented development. When you think of a community like this one, which has the ability to have transit, as in buses, and the fact that you're only 3 miles from downtown, I think what you have here is the ability to give an opportunity for a lot of people that can't afford expensive homes in any other parts of the county. So I do believe that between the proximity, the fact that we do have transit there, I would be happy to support the district commissioners on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To echo the sentiments of my colleagues, and both you and the Vice Mayor are correct with regard to issues related to traffic as well as roads failing in this particular area. But I will also admit, I'll also admit that staff is recommending approval because it kind of coincides with our Housing for All plan. The idea that there was a housing bond passed at 20 years, and there's, 200,000 units that are needed? 20,000. And this coincides with that. In addition to that, the echo of the sentiments that, yes, this would be very close to the downtown. We have a lot of people who work downtown who have the challenge of not being able to live close to where they work. And the reality of the situation is, Elize, we had a town hall in Westgate, had a brain freeze. And, there were some challenges to proposals that we were bringing forward. And admittedly so, one of the business owners admitted that although they were not in favor of the project or bringing additional housing units into that particular area, that some of the employees who work for the company may not have a place to stay. And they live in that area. So it's real challenging. I'm in support. We've had conversations, and we have to continue to do more. We don't want to incentivize things to the point that the cost outweighs the benefit. But in this particular instance, I believe that it gives us an opportunity to be creative and collaborative to create housing opportunities for all, or housing opportunities for some of our vulnerable populations here in Palm Beach County.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I really want to go on the record on why I'm struggling with this. And it's the review from Kimley Horn, the Traffic Division review, that it's important that we note, and I'm just going to read it. Major roadway links and intersections within the radius of development influence were evaluated. Skip down to the last sentence. Following is the list of roadway links that will fail in 2040. In other words, will exceed the adopted level of service without the addition of these units. This is what we're already planning for in 2040. Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard between Village Boulevard and I-95, Okeechobee Boulevard between I-95 and Australian, Military Trail, Westgate to Belvedere, Australian Avenue, Palm Beach Lakes and Banyan, Australian Avenue, Belvedere Road, and Southern Boulevard. All of these roads will be impacted by what we're voting on today. This is by 2040 if we don't approve this. And there's a list of 9 intersections that we're expecting to be failing without this addition. And this addition, of course, will be addition. So this is why I'm struggling with this. I very much want to see this area redeveloped, but you know, we already are going to be behind. In 15 years, we're predicting all of this to be gridlock. And we're voting today to go ahead and allow for, at the same, within the next 15 to 20 years, an additional 3,000 units. I really want to support my district commissioners on this, but I just don't see how I can support it. I'm sorry. I read these intersections. I drive these intersections. We all do to get to this building. So I'm sorry, I can't support this.
You know, I say when I'm up here, I support district commissioners. That to me is one of the most important things because we want to support each other. I don't see this as just a district issue. I'm going to be honest. This is off of Okeechobee Road that this entire county, including a lot of us commissioners up here, take coming up and down to get in and out of downtown West Palm Beach. And so this just isn't a district issue to me. This is an overall county issue of traffic. And I'm sure in Dade and in Broward County, all the projects and all those housing developments, they were probably a great plan at the time. But I have said time and time again, we are an amazing county and I want it to stay that way. And that means not gridlocking our residents in traffic issues. I also don't know that there's any guarantee. I do respect that some people may take the bus. It is closer. There might be some more public transit options. But at the end of the day, most people in Florida, they prefer to drive a car. So how do we keep adding, how do we skip comp plan altogether, go straight to zoning, and we can't say no? We can't say, okay, well, we've made this many improvements. What is currently in the works at the county to improve that area traffic-wise? What do we currently have? Anything approved?
As far as I know, in the CRA area, there are...
Hold on, let me be more specific. Is there anything in our 5-year road program?
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. I have to look, but I don't recall any projects in the CRA area which are in the current 5-year program. There might be some other projects. I don't know if LSA knows anything.
Yes.
Any other projects, improvement in the CRA?
So the talks that, you know, these units aren't coming on all at once, we also don't have traffic improvements coming either. So how can we say, oh, well, these units are coming down the road, but we don't have real solutions to our current failing roads and intersections with what's already allowed? We don't have any, and yet we are piling on and piling on. That, to me, is poor planning. And I, again, as much as I want to support district commissioners, I see this as more of a county impact of our residents coming in and out of our downtown area than I do just a specific district. And I have a few more things I will add, but I'm going to recognize Commissioner Sachs.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you for bringing up those points. I don't want to call you Twee, but Ms. Schutz, how much money have we spent on a grand traffic plan that we're going to be reviewing, more money going to it? But how much money has the county allocated to a study of traffic in Palm Beach, approximately?
Currently, $1 million is in the budget for...
$1 million to tell us about that we have traffic in Palm Beach County. If I could speak to the gentleman from Frisbee. Sir, I'm sorry, I know Jackson, but is that your last name?
Oh, that's my first name.
First name, okay. Let me call you Mr. Jackson from Frisbee, all right? If you could come up and do tell us your full name for the record.
Yes, Jackson Risbera.
Okay, sir. You are looking to have us go for 1,200 residential units to over 4,000 residential units. What have you done in your development to stop folks living in those units from having to take a car or a bicycle to get groceries or take the kids to school?
So things that we have talked about and discussed would be, well, I believe they were mentioned before, but by adding bike lanes, adding specific stations for drop-off and pickup for rideshare apps, shuttles.
Let me suggest something that you know, because you come from a very professional company. You're doing a lot of work here in the county. How about live, work, and play? As part of your development that you've given to our staff, does that, besides including 4,300 housing units, do you have a grocery store in there? Have you included a daycare center? Do you have places for people to eat? Are any of those included, or is this just one big, grand 4,300 unit residential place?
So currently for the first phase, which is 405 units, we do have a large amenity building that will have co-working workspace, daycare facilities, and other amenities like that. We haven't discussed for the rest of, we have discussed, but we haven't come up with anything specific for the rest of the property.
And of course, being a very successful developer, you know about live, work, and play in developments that incorporate residential units, especially those for this, this economic group, and ways that they can live and work and play in that same area. Are you available to discuss that further on this development, sir? So that we hear about transit stations, we hear about bus stops, we hear about bicycle lanes, but do we have any idea of having the folks not even have to have a car or 2 or 3 cars, because this is affordable housing, but to have all those amenities right there in that same area where the units are?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea. It's definitely something we discuss a lot. Most of our future projects, we kind of count on less vehicles going around, because I think that's where we're headed personally, with all the new investments, and you have the autonomous vehicles and things like that. So it's definitely things we are aware of and talk about.
We don't need Elon Musk here with the Teslas, but what we do need is we do need a plan, and I know that our staff is very smart about this, where folks can come down from their apartment and take care of their shopping, take care of beauty shops, food, things like we have at Uptown and other Meisner Park, things like that.
Yeah.
Is that something that your company would consider?
Well, yeah, we'd definitely consider that, 100%.
Okay. And would you present that, if this doesn't go through today, or even if it does, would you present something like that to our staff?
I would definitely be open to that.
It's your generation, it's what you want, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Of course, thank you.
Would you mind staying? Hi.
Hi.
Quick question
Yep.
for you. Is there a bit, Commissioner Sachs brought up a good point, which is what made me think of this question. We do have a master transportation plan in the works.
Yep.
Would you be willing to consider waiting until we have some data at the end of that to bring this back?
That is definitely something I can bring up. I'm not sure I can make any decisions. Yeah, correct. But I
How
can
would you
definitely bring
feel
that
about
up.
that, sir?
Well, we've been working on this process for the last two years. We are also working with the transportation master plans. We've been asked to provide our own short-term, mid-term, long-term mitigation plans. We've done that. We have spent $15 million on transportation in the last 5 years. This board, you approve an $11 million loan for us to do those things, to improve transportation and roadways. We plan in the work plan to spend another $5 million in the next 5 years as a requirements for this request. I think we are in a very good position to work with staff, with the planning department, with the transportation master plan to move forward. And again, as we said before, we don't have any other major applications in the work except for the Frisbee and Palm Beach Kennel Club.
So you
There's
say you have
400
no major
units.
projects in the works currently, so potentially waiting wouldn't affect it one way or the other?
Except for the 400 units, we don't have any other applications currently that we are reviewing.
But you
for
already have another 600 available to use, do you not? Without us approving this?
Yes, there is another 600 units in the pool. We're talking to a lot of developers, but no application has been submitted to us. We think if we have to go back, probably going to cost us more time and more money to come again to do this exercise. And then we do have our traffic engineer with us also from Kimley Horn, Chris Higgins, if you want to hear from him in terms of traffic and parking and those kind of things.
I will
Mixed
leave that
use
up to Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Well, Madam Mayor. Actually had questions with regard to the additional units. And then LJ, I'll get to you. But my question with regard to those units, we're talking about over 400 new units, correct?
Yes.
Yes, for
Please
phase
step
one.
up to the mic. Thank you.
And then with that, I know we've alleviated some parking requirements in the Westgate area. What do you anticipate? One, how many of those units would be affordable, and how many would be workforce?
So I mean, that's something that we'd have to get into detail on. There'd definitely be a split of that, but I think of if this was approved, if it was 4,300 units, that would not all be used on our site. I think a maximum it would be 1,200, but we would not use all 4,300.
What would parking look like? How many parking spaces are you capitalizing on the reduced parking requirements? What are we anticipating there? And what is the parking requirement if you have?
For phase one, this project was approved before you approved the parking reduction, so they're not using any of the parking reduction. I think this phase one is fully parked and probably have excess parking, as we understand for phase one. This is not a very intense project they're proposing. It's 400 units on 16 acres. It's less than 30 units per acre for phase one.
Okay, thank you. Let me ask you this question, Elize. If this is not approved today, you started to talk about the costs, time value of money. Realistically, staff, when would this be able to come back? And then is it the next comp plan meeting, which is when?
The next comp plan meeting will be April 29th.
Which is 3 months, 4 months from now?
Yes, I think what the mayor is asking is not to bring it in April, is to bring it after we have a countywide transportation master plan, which at this point we don't know when that's going to be put in place, probably end of this year or early next year. Not in April. I don't think the master plan will be ready in April.
Got you. Good point. How much in additional funds based on the time value or the time over that period of time do you probably can't tell me now, but would you project out that to cost?
I can project how much that's going to cost us in terms of time and delays. Again, this is an incentive programs. We also have people trying to look into the area because they know that we have the bonus units. If they know that we don't have the bonus units, they'll look elsewhere. Understand that unincorporated Palm Beach County in this area is the place you have the lowest density. Developers go everywhere else because they can do 30, 40, 50 units per acre in all the cities around us. So they come to Westgate because they know that we have the bonus units. If we don't have the bonus units, most developers are not going to come because they can do 8 units per acre. So the bonus density program is an incentive to keep developers interested in the area. We are talking to 2 major ones right now, and then this is something that they are watching and banking on and waiting on before they make the next move.
Thank you. Tui?
The board may, if I may, consider maybe a phase, not approving all 3,000 now, if you feel more comfortable in whatever would be needed for the Frisbee group. If there's 600 left, maybe 1,000 that could be in this pool or more, or however, if that would be a suggestion. But like LSA says, this area is an appropriate place for the density. It's just they need to make sure that those projects, they work with us in engineering to make sure those get further along the line and there's some measurable. The statute also requires the CRA to update their work plan as well. So this goes in line, what staff's proposing goes in line with what they have to do for their reporting requirements for the state statutes. So,
thank you for that. I'll say this too. I think that Vice Mayor Woodward brought up some very valid points with regard to traffic and what will happen on our roads, even if we don't do any units in the Westgate area. But I'll also venture to tell you that the bananas concept is not, y'all know what bananas is, right? Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything. So the bananas concept doesn't work because construction is continuing to happen. All we have to do is walk outside of this building in downtown. High-rises are being built where people are going to live. And traffic is going to happen. People are coming to Palm Beach County whether we want them to come or not. The challenge that we have is being priced out of paradise. So some of us, we were born and raised here in Palm Beach County, Mayor, and if we were to try to purchase a house today, and let's just say our only salary was our county salary, we wouldn't be able to purchase a house if it was us by ourselves. We have to double up, be married, have a roommate, or do something because units are continuing to be constructed. These are rentals, yeah. But even then, you're right. We can't afford to rent. I couldn't afford to rent. But when we're talking about the cost of construction or people being able to live and work here in Palm Beach County, where are we going to push them? I know now people were living in Port St. Lucie. But now people are driving out of Fort Pierce, which is further than Port St. Lucie, to drive to work in Palm Beach County. It defeats the point. You're spending money and gas and time in the car to make a little bit of money to drive back. And there's some people who figure out how to live down here during the week and go home on the weekend. So we've got to figure out a balance. But the balance can't be to not be able to build anything or to build additional units in the Westgate area. My colleagues do bring up a good point, though. Would be good if we could, as we're talking about additional units in Westgate, if we could figure out how to, and I know there are a few homes that were built, very few, to create housing opportunities in the Westgate area as well. But the option of not constructing, traffic is going to continue to outpace demand whether we build anything or not. So we have to make a decision, and to do nothing doesn't work in this particular instance. So if we could figure out, perhaps TWE indicated maybe a phased approach, something that works, that helps to get us where we're trying to go in a manner where we can work.
Commissioner Powell, before I move on, do you think if we didn't approve this that they wouldn't be able to? Because from my understanding, this just removes the comp plan portion. They can still come into it, get approved.
I don't know. What's the response, TWE?
Yes, developers could go and apply for the comp plan amendment for the necessary density if needed. This is just an easier way to incentivize a faster approach to get to the approval.
Which sends it straight to zoning.
Right, it'll be a
So they get to skip a part of the process, and we have processes in place for the issues we're discussing.
Correct. The question is, as Elize was pointing out, and I guess this would be my question to TWE or to staff, if we don't provide this incentive, does it provide an additional barrier where, and you were saying earlier, Elize, developers are not trying to come and build in this area, or what happens?
Yes. If you're doing a major projects, it costs you a lot of money to have a contract, time to do your due diligence, when you don't even know if you're going to get the density, if you have to go through a future land use amendment. So if you know that the bonus density units are available, you can just make a phone call and find out. But future land use is a longer process, and then you never know what the decision is going to be. And the second part you mentioned, whether or not the BCC or the commissioners are not going to see a project. If it comes, it's just going to go to zoning. Yes, if they are doing a low density projects, but if they are doing a high density project, if they are going to request 22 units or more from the pool, they will have to come before the BCC. So it's not really bypassing the BCC altogether. It's avoiding the future land use amendment that usually take a long time.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple questions for staff on this. And he's correct, we're not bypassing the BCC, but we are bypassing planning. And is there, I'll skip to my one question. Do we have the ability to put some sort of a requirement, if we approve this, that a future developer would have to help us alleviate traffic on the roads in which they're building? Because we have concurrency, impact fees, all of this stuff.
The county attorney, you're recognized.
Sure, that's already, as long as they pay their proportionate share of their traffic impacts, they can go ahead and develop. So that's already in place, right? That's the whole point of the proportionate share payment.
And if the road is already failing level of service, what does that do?
They don't pay anything.
Quasi.
Yeah, if the roadway is already failing, and if their project doesn't cause any additional failure, then they don't have to pay prop share.
And if the road is failing, you cannot cause additional failure. Am I correct?
Correct.
Again, that's what brings me back to this, because then when it comes to zoning, if they're developing on a road that is already failing, we have no say, and there's no proportionate share. I mean, all of this stuff, that there's no extra money to help us bring these roads up to service. And not that it's a no in the future, but it gives us the ability at comp plan to consider traffic when we are not allowed to do that in zoning. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Could I just, one other thing, if this were not to pass today, does it jeopardize a project in the works right now?
Again, the only projects that we are reviewing is the Frisbee group for phase 1. There is enough units for phase 1, but if they move with phase 2 and phase 3, we won't have enough units to do those phases and other projects that we are working with right now.
So answering your question, it would, for the Frisbee group, probably phase 3 would be, would need the additional units. And Westgate's entertaining other proposals as well with their remaining 600 units. So some of those could go to phase 2, but there are other developers that may be looking to build there, and so it may, not help them in trying to.
So just the phase 2 and 3 of this process, would it be after we finish our transportation master plan?
I would have to defer to Alizé because he's the one that's meeting with the developers.
Yes, no, I think they're ready to submit phase 2. They've been ready for the last couple months. We are still negotiating an agreement for phase 1, which will include some contribution to transportation. So we're still ironing out those details, but they're ready to submit for phase 2 already. They are also under a time constraint. They have some sort of a contract with the landowner, so they're doing their due diligence. I don't know where the deadline dead dates are, but the contract is contingent upon us providing bonus units for them to achieve the level of density they need to close on the property.
All right, so just short answer to what the mayor was asking on the timeline of what's already on the books and what is in the future. Would postponing this to the time where we get our transportation master plan baked, is it jeopardized? Anything that's...
Yes. Because we don't have enough units just to do phase 2 and phase 3 and other projects we have in the works. So at least we would need some more units.
How many would you need to finish phase 2 and 3?
Phase 2 and 3, I would say if we have 1,000 units, we can cover that with other projects that we have in the books.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
I think we're all talking about the same thing. We want the units, but we don't want the number one complaint we get from our constituents. And what is that? It's traffic. It's traffic. Everywhere we have traffic. My God, we just paid $1 million to a company to tell us we have traffic. All right? We have traffic. So to ask us to put in 4,000 units and then to tell us that, we're going to see if there's any issues with traffic after they put them in or as they put them in, because their engineer is going to tell us, no, it's not bad at all. We're going to put bicycle lanes along there, as if people are going to take bicycles to go to Publix. We're talking in circles here. We want the units. And maybe one resolution, and I'll listen to my colleagues, one resolution is to phase it in, but you gotta have the places where people are going to drive their cars to, right there, you see, right there. So if I'm living in a unit and I've got to go to Publix, I don't have to take my car, because I go down the elevator and there's Publix or whatever is there, small market. But to think that we're going to put in all these units and not affect traffic adversely is asking too much of us, because we like the units. We're going to go back to our constituents and say, what the hell have you done? So you all figure it out. You're the developers. We represent the people. Okay? We know people want affordable housing, but we know it's got to be done for 2026 to 2030. Because this is not the way to do it, is to put a bunch of units out there and say, they're going to take buses. Somebody's already said it. We don't take buses here. This is Palm Beach.
Commissioner Sacks, would you like to make a substitute motion?
No, I'm going to, somebody else can do it. I'm tired of, I'm speeching too much right now. So like, somebody else could make the substitute motion and be fine with me. Thank you.
I would make a substitute motion to, I would think at this point, offer 1,000 units. Is that what you said? That would be needed for phase 2 and 3?
For phase 2 and 3, but that's not really covering other developers looking at major sites.
Well, and I'm offering 1,000 units and then phasing to get to your additional units. And I don't know if that's something we can do today, or you would need to bring it back, but.
Forgive me for clarifying, but I think if we do the 1,000 now, it'll solve your phased problem, but also give us time to get in the traffic and look at the holistic picture of that.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Woodward's being very generous, because I was thinking 500. So.
I was going to give them enough just to get to this phase 2 and 3, but then the rest of that would need to come back once we have our transportation master plan and we can address all of it.
Excuse me, Mayor, we are working with major developers right now. He's looking at one of the biggest sites. He's asking about 1,500.
Well, forgive me,
Sir,
because
you just said, I'm sorry, we were just told this is going to take 20 years to happen.
Right.
So you're telling me right now, 1,000 to finish phase 2 and 3 of this, another 1,500 right now. What you're going to get to these numbers in 5 years.
No, that doesn't mean they're going to be built in 5 years, but this is
Then
starting the
why can't
discussions.
this wait till after the transportation master plan? Either you've got these coming out of the ground in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or we can wait 6 months to a year to get this baked in.
If you don't give them the incentives, they'll go elsewhere. The momentum you have right now, that doesn't mean it's going to be there next year. They go to Delray, they go to Lake Worth, they go to West Palm Beach. Once you have the momentum, you negotiate with the developers, even if it takes them 10 years. We've been working on some projects.
Sir, I don't believe we need to negotiate out of desperation. I mean, to what Commissioner Powell was just talking about, people are moving here. They're going to come here. And your area, it's still going to be very, very, integral into the future of what's happening right outside West Palm Beach. I don't think you need to negotiate from desperation. This is valuable area that you have. And a CRA is meant to be something that becomes something big. We have a number of CRAs in this county that have gone from, an underserved area to Meisner Park, to City Place in the Convention Center. This is what can happen. And you're right there at the edge of it. Don't undersell yourself.
Commissioner
sorry.
Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. A couple things. So help me understand the countywide master plan, transportation master plan. That's based on what the densities and land uses and things.
Yes, the consultant will be looking at some of the trends and that's out there, and also future planning for the incorporating land use as a base for that as well.
So if this area is left that it can only have another 600 units, that's what they're going to base their plan on, is correct?
No, they will be planning for 2050 also. So, but they're not going to be recommending specific density for certain areas, but they'll be utilizing.
How would they know what level to base their recommendations on or their projects on if they don't know what we're planning to do?
They will be looking at existing as well as potential uses in the future.
But the uses are based on what's on the books.
Yes, yes.
So in this case, they will think for their proposal that it's 8 units to the acre max.
Right. However, there is a potential also of density that could be derived with a comp plan amendment of 12 units per acre, should there be a need to do that as well. And potentially, I think there's, within the CRA plan, in the various areas, could be allocated I'm sorry, Maria is here, I forgot. They can also explain a little better what their process is in evaluating existing condition and future conditions.
Thanks, Tui. Good morning. Mariah Deagle with WSP, working on your CTMP. So the modeling that we're doing for our data analysis accounts for the 2050 population projections and employment projections. We are looking at land use also, land use densities in certain areas. So we're just now getting into our corridor analysis, our sub-area analysis. So, I mean,
So can you answer my question?
could you repeat the question, please?
So what are you using to base your analysis on?
So there are multiple data sources and tools that we're using.
In terms of density and use?
So there are a couple of programs that look at density. The SERPM-9 model is one of the things that...
I don't think you're understanding my question. My question is, if you know that we're adding additional density to this area, is that what you're going to base your projections on?
We certainly could.
So you're not going to use what the densities either that are available today or potentially in the future?
So the tools that we use that bring up the land use densities that are allowed, and densities and intensities are what we're picking up. But if there are specific areas that are slated to change, those could certainly be adjusted in our modeling efforts, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
If they're not slated to change, then what are you going to do?
Use what the existing
That's
land
what I was
use-
asking in the first
Okay.
place. So you're going to use whatever is existing today.
Just 8 units per acre.
8 units per acre. That's what's existing, so that's what you would use in your projections.
Sure. If that's what is in place today, then yes.
So if we wanted to have and we believe this is where this area is going to go, then if we made that change, you would put that into your model to understand what's going to happen.
Correct.
But if we don't, you won't.
Correct.
I think you clarified my question. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
No, I don't have any questions at all, actually.
Mr. Rutter, did you want to add something to the conversation?
I think Mariah touched on most of it. And to the commissioner's point, very much noted, we're talking about a very specific area. As we look at it countywide, we'll take growth and look at it overall. We've gotten a lot of feedback from cities. This exact same kind of situation the board is contemplating here, every city presents to us.
But we don't have to include this we don't have to approve these densities for them to include it in the master plan?
That's correct.
We could just ask them to look at that as a part of it?
As part of it, I just wanted to make the point, as we're looking at the master plan, city's going to make changes as well, which is why at the end of the day, the master plan will be flexible and will be able to change as well and accommodate things. We don't know in 10 years, a given local government that may make a significant change that will add a number of units.
And then we could get, it sounds like, some real data.
have
Commissioner
the floor.
Powell, you're recognized. Oh, forgive me, one sec. Were you finished,
No.
Commissioner Weiss? Please.
So I'm also trying to understand, Mr. Alaze, if we don't move forward with this, I mean, it's been, well, I'll just ask you. I mean, I think you've said it, but I want to clarify. What's your estimation in terms of future opportunities for your area?
Yes. I think Mr. Pat Rutter mentioned it earlier. The county is looking at adding density in certain nodes in the area, and Westgate is one of the areas they've been looking at. Asking 3,000 units for this program is not really asking for much in terms of what the needs are and what the county's been trying to do. We're looking at strategic location where people can find work. They are closer to major transportations. Westgate is really the right place to allow that density. At least we need 2,000 to 3,000 units to get it going before we know exactly what transportation is going to do. But we've been talking about this for years. We want more density, and Westgate is one of the places where you can increase that density because it's close to the airport, I-95, Turnpike, the transit center, close to downtown. This is the perfect place. And again, like I think some of the commissioners have mentioned, if we don't do it in Westgate, somebody else is going to build density. Traffic is going to be there regardless. I think one of the engineers probably sitting in this room told us that this program is not going to increase to add that many trips. They compare it with the equivalent of 3 gas stations. So I don't want you to be alarmed because you're giving us units and then we're going to put cars all over the place. We're going to do trip capture, and I appreciate Commissioner Sachs mentioning mixed use. That's something we're going to try to incorporate in some of the development. We're also looking at park and ride in some of the developments. So it's not going to cause more problem for traffic. Actually, we're trying to see if we can get solutions to address the existing conditions by strategically putting density in places where it's going to make sense.
I appreciate that. I mean, this is an area where we've looked at for a long time where we believe it makes sense to have additional density. And this is to staff and transportation. What are you guys projecting for 2050 as how transportation actually works? Are you using what we've done for the last 50 years? Are you looking at what we're potentially going to do?
In terms of population?
No, in terms of transportation.
Yes, but the model generates trips based upon the population projections and employment data. So population, we use the Beeble projections for 2050 and then distribute it in different traffic analysis zones. And that, when you run the model, it gives you the numbers. And consultant can correct me on that.
I think we're going to have to.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to look at a combination of multimodal. It's not going to be a one-size-fits-all. The eastern community, there's not a lot of land to be expanding and having lanes, but there are connections that needs to be done. And I think this project will look at those things, a combination of multimodal, as the board directed us to look at, to include that into our planning for the transportation in the future. So there could be transit, there could be a number of connection points and improvements where it's needed in the community, in the region wide. So it's a combination. We'd have to look at the modeling that needs to be done, but also look at some of the trends that's happening as well. So we don't have a crystal ball, but we need to look at those and be aware of those and how we move people and adjust, again, to make sure that whatever plan that comes up, we have, and you have the ability to direct us to adjust for the future. So.
And then the last thing I'll say is I had met with the folks from Frisbee in regards to looking at their overall site, just to share with my colleagues in the conversations we've had. They've talked about residential going in, of course, initially, but then mixed use going in the other phases of their project, including commercial, actually having a school there for the folks that live there. They've talked about having circulators, autonomous circulators that run from that site to downtown, being able to run every 10 to 15 minutes, having driverless vehicles. So I mean, I think they're looking in a very forward-looking way at what that total development would be. I understand the concerns that my colleagues have, but as Commissioner Powell has said, the people who are going to work downtown, unless you are in a very high-paying job, you can't afford to live downtown. And this is going to provide that relief for those folks.
I have no more lights on, but I do have a substitute motion for 1,000 units instead of the 3,000. Do I have a second? Okay, so I have a second. So the motion was by Vice Mayor Woodward. The second is by Commissioner Sacks.
I have a substitute motion to go back to the original motion on the table, which is what was being asked of.
For 3,000
Correct.
units.
As it reads on the summary.
I'll second that.
So I have a substitute motion by Commissioner Flores, and I have a second by Commissioner Marino. We're going to do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Flores.
Yes.
Commissioner Marino.
Yes.
Commissioner Powell.
Yes.
Commissioner Sacks.
No.
Commissioner Weiss.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Woodward.
No.
Mayor Baxter.
No.
That's
See that the
4
motion carries 4-3.
Well, thank you very much. I too agree with the BCC, but thank you for supporting our effort.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, moving on to 3A2.
Yes, Mayor. Yes, Mayor and Commissioners. This is the water supply facility work plan. This is to revise the utility and capital improvement elements to adopt the county's updated water supply facilities work plan by reference in the comp plan as required by statutes. Kristen Burnson is here from Utilities if you'd like to have a presentation. This item was transmitted by the board in November, and the PLC has also recommended approval of this. Staff's also recommending approval, and the motion would be to adopt.
I think it's a good, anyone need a presentation? Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Marino, and I have a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that motion carries 6-7-0. 6-7. Moving on to 3A3.
Yes, this item is the recreation and open space element updates, and this proposed county-initiated element would revise the introduction and administration element, the recreational or the ROSE element, and the map series. There are 7 different points for details on what this also include, and representative from the Parks and Rec Department is here if you'd like to have a presentation.
Sure.
Hi, is it possible to get a brief presentation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Jennifer Cirillo, Director of Palm Beach County Parks and Recreation. Commissioner Marino asked why I'm wearing a jersey today. It's Team Spirit Day, but no one else is wearing a jersey, so hopefully some people in the building are wearing a jersey today. Thank you for the opportunity to present briefly about the recreation and open space element. This is something that has not been updated since 2012. It's consistent with the master plan that was approved by the board last year, so we're bringing it up to date, mostly ministerial changes. And Bob Hamilton, our Parks Planning and Development Director, has worked very hard along with Daniel Duenas, our senior planner, on this, and he's going to run through some very quick bullet points.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Hamilton, Director of Park Development, Parks and Recreation Department. Really, like Jennifer said, it's really just ministerial for the most part. We've updated some definitions. We included a new policy for the maintenance of the Parks Master Plan, which was completed in February of 25. We set a new policy for exploring new funding sources to support the department, and that's really the creation of the Parks Foundation, which has been done. We updated the level of service standards just to extend the horizon out to 2045. Originally, in the current rows, it ends in 2030. We clarified the difference between local level parks and private recreation. They were a little bit intertwined in the current rows. We wanted to make sure we split those apart. Had a new policy to encourage the use of green infrastructure, which is something that we're doing right now, and we revised the map series with current park data. So that's really it. There's about seven items that were modified.
Thank you, Mayor. We'd be happy to take any questions there may be.
I have a motion by Commissioner Flores. I have a second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to move on to 3B1.
Yes, this is a privately initiated comp plan amendment from HR 8, High Residential 8, to Commercial Recreation with an underlying HR 8, High Residential 8. This is located on the west side of State Road 715, approximately 1.2 miles north of Hooker Highway. This is approximately 15 acres. The request is for an RV park consisting of 80 RV sites, equating to 6 sites per acre. And this is basically justified based on the lake and the adjacent county park. If there's any presentation, the agent is here.
It's in my district. I don't need a presentation. I think our Glades area is amazing. And if we can create an RV park that allows people to come visit, I think that would be amazing. So I have a motion by Commissioner Flores. I have a second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that motion carries 7-0.
Hey, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'm in favor, but I'd like to know exactly how that's.
Sorry, I didn't see your light. Go ahead.
It's all right. Just want to know exactly how the RV park would work.
I'm sorry.
How would it work?
Oh,
what do you mean, like people visiting?
Yes, how long they're allowed to stay there? Is it permanent? It's just more so for informational purposes for people who may be interested in utilizing some of these very unique opportunities for RV parks here in Palm Beach County.
Please state your name for the record.
Kevin McGinley, representing Nova Park and the property owner. My understanding is 6 months, the code says, that you can stay in an RV slot without moving, but I'll defer to staff. And other than that, this is an RV park that will cater towards the Glades area, particularly Lake Okeechobee. And if you've ever been out there, there's nothing around it. Except the county park contiguous to it, which we could avail ourselves of. Thank you.
Alex from zoning, a lot of that is in the zoning code, the LDC, and Alex is here to answer some of those questions.
Yes, for the record, Alex Byray, Senior Site Planner 1 of the Zoning Division, who's also reviewing the companion zoning applications as it relates to this comprehensive, this future land use atlas amendment. Duration of stay for campsites and camping cabins is 30 consecutive days in a 6-month period. RV sites, it's 180 days per calendar year. These regulations are also enumerated in the Florida statutes.
Any more questions, Commissioner? Okay, we did vote, so 7-0. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to 4A1.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioner, this item is an update on the countywide transportation master plan, what has been done since October, the last progress report, and also up to our last meeting with the technical advisors, iPark 2.0 Plus. Mariah Dico is here to give the presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mariah Deacle with WSP for the record. I also have our project manager, Claudia Blotto, is on the line as well to answer any questions that you may have. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today. It's been a couple of months since we saw you last. In your packet, there is a progress report highlighting all of the activities that we've been busy working on for the last several months, and then also some of the activities that we recently have been working on. So with that, is the deck up? Apologize, bear with me 1 second. We do have a deck for you. There's a printout on the dais as well. And they're trying to pull up on Zoom for Claudia to join us, and I think
Is that the project manager?
Yes.
Does she live locally?
She's in Atlanta.
Okay.
So, and I am local, Treasure Coast native. Okay, progress report for you all, what we've been working on. The last time we were here, a few of you asked about our traffic methodology. So we did circulate a memo with the traffic methodology to the board at the end of November. There we go. And some of the current tasks that we're working on now is the stakeholder engagement is going to be ongoing and public feedback throughout the cycle of the project. Also, we have our drafted goals and objectives to help lead us to how are we going to prioritize the projects for the plan, and then also our drafting of our criteria. Okay, other tasks that we're working on that we mentioned previously was the modeling tasks, to take a look at what does the future hold for Palm Beach County in 2050 with those employment and population projections. We also have our engineers and plan engineers who are working on design principles. Twee had mentioned about not necessarily looking at levels of service, but also looking at multimodal opportunities throughout the county. And then our corridor analysis is something else we're working on right now to take a look at where are those pinch points, what are we hearing back from the public and then from the subject matter experts at the county, and what should we be focusing on for recommendations for you all. Okay, the sentiment analysis. So in August, September, October, we went out to the public. We did lots of polling throughout the communities. We collected about 1,500 surveys in total, and then we partnered with Google to take a look at what is the public doing with their search engines and how do those things relate. And the good news is, with the sentiment analysis from Google, our survey questions were structured correctly and that we were asking the right questions. One of the commissioners had mentioned about the traffic congestion previously during the other agenda item. And so no surprises on the sentiment analysis. We know what people's opinions are about congestion in Palm Beach County. Okay, so with that, we're taking a look at the themes: reliability, equity, and then technology. So technology was a big one that we heard when we went out to the communities, and what are we doing? What tools are we going to be bringing? And so we do have a companion item to this agenda item that Twee will speak about in just a moment, about some other tools that we're bringing to the project. So with that, on the sentiment analysis, the top ranking, of course, was the congestion, and then transit was also a big one. So all of this information is coming directly from the search engines, the polling that we did, and then also the surveys that we collected. We also wanted to take a look at the differences in the region as well, because we know that the context and the land uses throughout the county vary depending on where you're located. So the western community, we saw the most participation or interest, if you will, whereas the northern was a little bit just following the west and then the south.
Commissioner Weiss has a question.
Sure.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to go back 2 slides, the ranking, just so I understand what those numbers mean. I think I do, but I just want you to see if you can clarify for me. So the numbers, so when we see when we see traffic congestion, low income 2.03, that's the average level. It was ranked at, I assume they're ranking between 1 and 10 or 1 and whatever number is, and that's what the average was for that group.
Correct. There's a sentiment score that was assigned in the full analysis that Google did, and so that is the ranking of throughout the different demographic. You have your low income, middle, high, and unknown, and so those are the ranked survey answers by the income group.
So freight and goods was ranked around 8.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Freight.
Yes.
Freight goods was ranked around number 8 priority for the folks that participated in the survey.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to clarify what those numbers meant. Thank you.
Okay, and with the issues and improvements that were cited in the Google Analytics, the most pressing, of course, congestion, and then the top requested improvements was back to the technology piece, where we're looking at traffic signal timing and smart technology opportunities, and also the transit infrastructure was a big one. So the perception of the network. So this is directly from the polling when we went out to the various communities, and 58% was neither high nor low, so they were neutral. So the vast majority is neutral, but then that is followed by those who ranked the network as low quality, which is the 24%. Okay, and with that, all the differences of the locations, we also have for you the percentage ranking as the low quality, starting with Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, followed by Delray Beach, Boynton Beach, and Boca, and then Lake Worth, Green Acres, West Boynton, Delray, and so on.
Excuse me, Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you explain to me this chart? You show regional perception percentage rating network as low quality. Jupiter/Palm Beach Gardens is up in the 78, 79 percentile, it looks like, based off what I'm looking at here. And then Delray Beach, Boynton Beach, Boca is also in that same bracket. When you decided to put the chart together, how did you come up with the areas that are put together? Is it based on population? When you have Jupiter and Palm Beach Gardens, Delray, Boynton, and Boca, Lake Worth and Green Acres. What are the characteristics that put those together? And what does that mean that they're up in the 78 percentile when they rate the network or their perception as low quality?
So we visited numerous locations throughout the county.
Correct.
And these were the locations that we went to visit. And with that, we did a polling exercise while we were there. And we asked them, what do you think the problems are? How do you think that the system is working today? And so these responses are directly correlated with the responses we received at those locations. So we wanted to I'm sorry. Yeah, and public meetings that we conducted.
Those were based on the ranking system on the surveys. Was it a high-low, or was it qualitative as if they wrote what they felt? Or was it a combination of both?
We did have a combination of both, of the ranking, and then also where people could provide open-ended responses to us as well. And we wanted to drill down in the various communities and see what some of the differences are, and then also what some of the similarities are and different themes throughout.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
I have a quick question. Of these, you said these on this slide, which of these would have been representative of the meeting that we did at the Loxahatchee Groves College campus?
Mm-hmm. So the Loxahatchee would be western of what we put in.
Did we put Western and the Glades together?
Yes. So
make sure those are separated out because those are very far apart.
Yes, I think what we need to do is to update the labels because we do have a separate Belglade from the evening meeting that you attended, and then the other one that is Western/Glades, we can certainly update and say Loxahatchee on that and just confirm.
And so it is, are you saying that according to this chart, this perception of network quality wasn't that poor? Because I can promise you my residents do not share that sentiment.
So this is asking the percentage rating of the network as low quality. So we ask them, do you feel, that it's high quality, medium, low? And so these are the percentages of those who participated at the public meetings of what they said for low quality.
So these are just for the people that were there?
That's correct.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. Vice Mayor Woodward, then Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Mayor. And real quick, just to go back to the previous slide, and I'm not trying to be a nerd about it, but those numbers add up to 105% for one. I only know that because I was trying to see what's the neutral versus low quality, high quality. So I had that it was 86% was neutral to low, but then 19 had high. So I wanted, not that that's important. I think I'm pretty sure I see that, if you're neutral, I think we would like to be better than neutral. And then, low quality, very low quality, those are, am I just understanding this is what you took from all the meetings that you had? So across the network, we're looking at least probably 80% that's either neutral or low quality.
Correct.
Okay. And so on the next page, and I think for us, because we all Commissioner Powell comes into the middle of Delray and Boynton, and Commissioner Weiss also has Boynton. We all kind of overlap with each other. So is there a way to kind of show these by like a map?
Of course.
Okay, because it would help for us, for our residents to kind of see where some of these hotspots were, and not just by the cities, because many of us share cities. Thank you.
Or by the meetings, because I think.
Or by meeting.
Yeah, the meeting was at the locations that was planned. So yes, we could probably do it so that's region, so it can be seen on a map.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I apologize. It's just very difficult when you use charts because there's something else, as Commissioner Baxter pointed out, when you put the Glades and the Western areas together, and this is based off the public outreach meetings. And this chart is basically based only on the second chart, the chart after this, perception of network quality. Oh, that too. That, when you look at the chart previously, which is, that's it. The perception of network quality, and it goes across all districts, low quality, very high quality, neither high or low. And then you look at the perception of network quality, and you're looking only at low, and you then do it as a bar chart. The challenge for me is when you look at these meetings, and this is why I said, how did you combine them? When you look at Jupiter and Palm Beach Gardens, we don't have statistical data to show how many people were in attendance, and that's based off what Commissioner Baxter was saying, because the people in the room vary, and then we're not looking at who's not in the room. And when you look at Western and the Glades and combining those areas, but you look at West Palm Beach as one area, we still don't, the variable that we're not able to solve for is how many people were in attendance. Because these numbers would look different if there were only 10 people in attendance at the West Palm Beach meeting, while there were 100 at the Green Acres meeting. So it's very difficult for me to kind of extrapolate out what this chart is actually saying. So I don't know if there's a better way to show this or additional information to be given. I think it's a wonderful attempt, but it still leaves most dissatisfied regions: Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, 78%, Delray, Boynton, Boca, 76%, Lake Worth, Green Acres, 64%. but we don't know how many people were in those meetings, and does that overcalculate for areas that didn't have as many people? So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you. And that's why, of course, we're having this public
Thank you.
conversation.
We do have the numbers, but we didn't drill down in this chart, but understood. Thank you.
You may proceed.
Thank you. All right, so now we, going from the public, then we are taking a focused look using our technical group, the iPark 2.0 Plus, and we've been talking to all the municipalities and then the organizations throughout the community, such as the MPO, the school board, and various participants. So we hosted a workshop on December the 15th, where we had 53 participants to help us with developing our corridor recommendations, what those are going to look like, and prioritization criteria, and taking a look at different scenarios of what the future could hold throughout the county. So with that, we received lots of great feedback on the 15th of December. And we were seeking further input with MCFEC to let them know what we were doing, and that they're going to be provided details, further details as we move through the duration of the project. So we went to MCFEC also twice now. We've touched base with them. And
Excuse me, what is MCFAC?
Multi-jurisdictional, it's the process.
Issues Forum.
I know we get used to talking in abbreviations, but we need to make sure that anyone watching also knows
Yeah, so
what they are.
it's a
please.
multi-jurisdictional.
And so, and just because I appreciate that you had all these meetings, but I think what we're most interested in is what is coming up, where are we going?
Yep. Okay, so where are we going? We will be going back to iPark 2.0 Plus. We will be coming to you all for one-on-ones in between that time period with some recommendations based on what we're hearing back from these different groups. These dates were selected based on our project schedule that we have, which is June adoption date. And after the last iPark 2.0 Plus meeting, we heard that our February date would not be good for the vast majority, so that was moved to March 11th. So with that, we have a couple of milestones that we'll be bringing back to you all, and that we're checking in with the different communities. Right now, we have 1,444 projects in our database that we're asking all the municipalities to please take a look, tell us what we've missed, if anything, and then what they would prioritize for the countywide plan and what's really going to move the needle for Palm Beach County.
And do we have dates and times for meetings, so the residents know when the next public meetings will be?
Yes, we do. April 22nd.
April
will be
20,
April 22nd.
that's just one day in one area? Are we
Is-
having a one day for the multiple locations?
Yes, we have one summit on April 22nd, and then after that, we've heard that we will be doing some additional meetings as well, so we haven't selected the location or dates for those yet.
Okay, the sooner the better, so we can get those out to our residents. Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Yeah, as I was reviewing this, and I was hoping that the project manager would be here, maybe to talk more specifics, but it looks like we're just going slide by slide. It feels like the majority and the bulk of this is people's opinion, right? Isn't that what a sentiment is?
Correct.
Where's the data? Like, where are we looking at, travel time, efficiency, accidents? That should be driving decision-making, at least for us. It's good to know what the sentiment is, but it can't be 15 of the slides. I want to see the data. I want to see what's driving this. How do we know that we have a reliable network that, if we estimate that our drive is going to take 35 minutes, that it actually takes 35 minutes, 8 out of 10 trips. how do we know what other redundancies we need to add into the system? Because, I mean, it's good to know what the public has to say. It's a valid, but I feel like a whole nother side of this is missing.
Right.
And my last comment, and you know, when you guys stood here and we were about to give this award you guys the contract, my comment specifically was, how do I know you're not going to mail this in? And the project manager, 2 meetings in a row before us, has been on Zoom, has not been able to connect, and we're making a major investment in this project. So my question to WSP is, why can't we get the project manager here? Why can't we get data? Why are we, I don't know. I just feel like we're not meeting at least my expectations. I just wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you. I echo that sentiment, and just because he has already touched on it, I want to add to a comment he had made. When it comes to data, I mean, we also want to see these maps. What are wait times? How are we, you saw the number one issue is traffic congestion. How are we solving some of these problems, I guess, is it? And we want to know what data we're using to identify. What are wait times at certain intersections? Do the smart signals help that? Is it a lane issue? Is it a mobility? We need to know specifically where the problems are that we are trying to address so we can let our residents know these are the problems. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And am I echoing? Sorry. To go back and, you know, I think we might have skipped a few slides because we're, you know, it's getting long. We have to have a break soon. But there's some pages in here that were really you buried the lead, I think, a little bit, because we have a couple of pages in here where we're talking about specific corridors, hotspots, that this stuff came out of iPark. So I feel, I mean, maybe we should have started there, because we kind of skipped over it, but like this, all of us, there's hotspots in here that affect every single commissioner sitting up here. And could you go back to some of those pages and talk about the data that's here? I mean, and even if some of these, you know, we overlap with each other, but these corridors and these hotspots, this is what we need to know about, because, and to the point my fellow commissioners are making, whether or not someone showed up to speak at this meeting, traffic congestion is a big issue, and the maps show, Google, Waze, all of that. We know what those are, and we need to know what those wait times are, even if people couldn't show up to a meeting to tell us that. So could you just quickly hit on these hotspots that are in here?
Yeah, and I believe Claudia has been online. Mariah is the deputy project manager as well locally. So,
are you all able to hear me?
We can hear you, Claudia.
Claudia, we
Yeah,
can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear everybody.
And to clarify, she's the deputy project manager?
So Claudia is the project manager. Mariah is the local deputy project manager.
So who is this?
Claudia is the project manager.
Project manager. And I think, did you hear the request to have in person? Okay.
I did, yes. And I have met many of you, or all of you, in person. I apologize that I'm not there today. And again, I mean, I understand the importance of my role as PM, and I was there last week. I'm there a lot. I'm sorry I'm not there today, and it is very much a team effort. So as the deputy PM, Mariah is my right hand and can also address many of these questions, and I hear fully what y'all are saying. I do think we have all the things you're talking about. I think what got presented today, first of all, thank you, Commissioner Woodward. That is true that those slides, many of them just got skipped over. But there's also a lot more of that, and that was not what was put into the presentation today, but it all exists and can be given to you. One of the reasons why the nitty-gritty technical details are not always put in these presentations is because we are working through the two committees that you all were discussing. iPark 2.0 is the technical committee. We had a great workshop a week ago in person with much of this data, walking through that corridor piece. So Mariah, if you could go back and share some of the details on that, I think that would be helpful. And then we will make sure to get more of those documented details, all of the data showing existing conditions. We're working through projections on future conditions. But, you know, hearing your concerns, I do believe they are all being addressed. They're just not in that presentation today.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a bunch of pages of questions. And instead of starting from the beginning and go to the end, I'm going to start from the end and go to the beginning. And I don't know if you can answer the question, but I'm going to read it into the record anyway. Given everything that we're talking about and all the questions, are we racing to a finish that doesn't really give us a complete picture? I think what you hear from the board is yes. Do you understand what the true goal of the RFP is, and do you think we're achieving that? Because it has to do with the scope of work. And in my eyes, the true goal of the RFP was not to consider the units that we already know about. The global picture, the question we've been asking, the question I've asked from day one when I became a county commissioner was, given the land use and what could happen in the future, are we including that in the model? And from what we heard this morning, we're not. So if we're not including what could possibly happen in the future, we're already behind the 8 ball. We are already not including units. Quite frankly, we didn't include the 3,000. It's a good thing we did this morning, because now you have to include the 3,000 units in Westgate. But from what you have told us, those units would not have been included. So that would have been a fail. And you have identified 10 to 12 corridors. Do you know the history of those corridors? Do you know that you can't widen North Lake Boulevard? You can't widen PGA Boulevard. There are only sections of Okeechobee, small sections that you can widen. Do you have that history? Are you working with not just county, but are you working with the municipalities? And are you working with the engineering department? Are you working with the planning department? Are you working with the zoning department? Because if you're not working with all those departments from all of the municipalities and the school district, then it's another fail. And I realize I'm ranting, but I'm not. I'm actually being very succinct in what I'm trying to share, because I'm looking at a failing effort. And I don't know why I think it's a failing effort. Actually, I do. I think it's a failing effort because I don't think the data that we are looking for, we're getting. Now, is it because we didn't ask the questions properly? I don't know. I don't believe that putting too much emphasis on, let me rephrase that. I think the emphasis should be on the information we're getting from the experts. The residents is sort of, we haven't talked to enough residents for it to give us the right information. And it was very well asked. I mean, I was at a meeting where there were 3 residents, and all of them said they're dissatisfied. So that's 100% of the meeting that says they're dissatisfied. That's not an accurate picture. So I have more questions. I think I'm getting blurry-eyed here, but we're racing to a finish that we're rushing because we thought we'd like to have a picture in June. I don't think a picture in June is feasible. I don't think that this is something, trying to do a 2-year project in 6 months doesn't do us any good, because then we fail from the start. And that's my takeaway from this and from the whole process. I got more questions, but I'm on a roll. I'll keep it short.
May I respond real quick? Sorry. I just wanted to say, I hear you. I don't think this is a failing effort. I think that we failed in what was shared with you all today. It was incorrect to be focused on sharing information about sentiment for all of the reasons that you all have shared. We do have every group that you mentioned engaged. We have gobs, for lack of a better word, of data and input that are under analysis. I don't disagree that it is a really compressed schedule. It is a bit of a rush. I don't think that automatically makes it a failed effort. We committed to delivering in a year because we can, but more time never hurts, to your point. Oftentimes, studies like this are done with a longer lead. But we do have all of those inputs, all of those opinions.
Excuse me. So briefly, I am going to say, if you do have the information and you feel that it just hasn't been brought to us today, I'm going to ask staff to coordinate with you, find another meeting that is not a long one, and bring it back to us. The information, the real data that Commissioner Flores and Commissioner Marino and all of us would really like to see about real-time data. Bring us some possible what it looks like. We know we won't have firm end of everything data till June, but show us what is shaping up. Show us what you have in mind so that we are not blindsided in June with half the information that we want. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. And just to say, I support what all my colleagues have communicated. I do want to say, though, that part of this was, there was a I don't want to say clamoring, that's not the right word, but there was a sentiment by the public that they wanted to be engaged, and we actually extended the number of meetings and so forth to try and satisfy the requests that we're getting, and that was not originally part of their original plan. I also I just want to reiterate, though, we were, and I think when we started this process, and it's probably been almost 2 years now, we were trying to get things done to try and see if we could potentially get the information in advance of being able to make a decision for the 26th ballot. And that we lost that window. We lost that a long time ago when things took a lot longer than we thought in trying to get the cities together and get the RFP out and everything else. And so I agree. I mean, trying to hit a window today, even in the best case, we would have to be to APAGA, and I think it's May. So that's even before you would even have a deliverable, and that means we'd have to have the language of what we wanted. So we're not, that window is gone. So to try and rush this at this point, it doesn't make sense. And I think that we should, I don't know if the board gives direction that they can have more time, but that window's gone. So the most thorough, the best report we can get is the best use of our investment in this.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So as I look at the project schedule, I mean, it looks like we're on month 6-ish, 6, 7. So we went through the discovery phase, which is data collection, projection, future growth, transportation demand. And then when we're going through the envisioning portion, we're just going through some of the public survey. So it seems like we're behind. That's my sentiment. Or maybe we're just getting the information way after. But speaking or adding to what Commissioner Weiss just said, I think the window to go out to see if there is a surtax on the ballot, I think that window has sort of passed. If we really wanted to do it, I guess we could, but I don't think this particular project is at a point that even today, we're not getting any data to indicate that, yes, we need to go out to do that. So I guess my sentiment, my thought is that we slow things down, we do it properly, we go through the proper process. Let's try not to rush this. Let's try to hit everything like we're supposed to. and let's do it right. Because ultimately, it's doing it the right way, doing it right, getting the right feedback, the right input, creating an actual plan that can be implemented. And once we get that actual plan, then we can make decisions based on that plan. That's my sentiment. It looks like our administration is bringing up an item, our next item, which is basically like an add-on to this. But Patrick, would you like to add something about this? Because you have talked to me and you've said maybe we should slow it down a little bit and we can do it right.
And thank you to a couple of you for bringing this up initially. I was going to bring it up when we were taking up the next item. Yes, 2 points. One, as we're getting into the meat of this, hear the question all the time on would the board be contemplating a dedicated funding source vote for 26? Would really appreciate clear direction from this board. If that's not going to be the case, we can begin firmly communicating
Real
that.
quick, before we decide that prolonging is necessary, if what I've heard is accurate, they have a lot more information than we've been given today. So can we give them a chance, present that information at a following meeting, and then determine if more time beyond June is necessary? I have no problem extending it beyond June. I just want to make sure that's necessary before we prolong the process. So if we can find that meeting to give us the information you say you have that we don't currently have in front of us, I think that would be a great starting point.
That would work if that's the board's direction. My following point would have been, if the board's not taking it up for 26, I would ask for the direction and clarity to amend it. Hearing your point, Mayor, if that's the board's direction, we'll get back to you very quickly, take it up and take your direction at that point.
Everyone agree? Agree. Okay, good. Vice Mayor Woodward wanted to add.
Yeah, just on to the future meeting that the mayor is asking for, please, let's focus on these data points, especially, and the question was asked by a member of the board, and when we were discussing the Westlake CRA, and it's disappointing for me to even see in here that you have identified Westlake a number of times in here, even saying, redevelopment, higher densities, reinvesting in underutilized and CRA corridors to support transit and shape future growth. This is exactly what we were asking about. So it was part of this, and it needs to continue to be part of this. That's why we asked for it. It's about planning. And we know we have traffic and congestion. So these pages make this the biggest part of what we hear from next. I'm in agreement. The surtax is not happening this year. It's probably good that we get that on the record for anyone who's wondering. It's not going to happen this year. And I have no problem extending this. But in our next meeting, these are the things that we need to hear about. So with that, I think that would close off this agenda item.
I agree, and I echo the sentiment of the surtax is not an option. I want that, our residents to know we're not asking them to pay any more money. Commissioner Sacks.
I'm just very pleased that everybody has come around to getting the results, the solutions, and to get the data. It concerns me a little bit that data is not public and transparent. So I agree and I certainly agree with what the mayor has decided.
Thank you so much. We are going to break for lunch. Now we can,
482.
One more, right?
It starts at 11:30, so there is a BDB lunch that all of us are supposed to be at. So I'm going to say, let's just stop now. And then when we come back, we will continue this at.
Convention Center?
Do you want to approve it? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Flores. We have a second by Commissioner Weiss. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 7-0.
No comments.
4A2, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
4A2, contract amendment.
Comments?
Okay, I will see everyone at 1:10.
Wait, I think he had a comment.
If anyone wants to wrap up comments, can we?
We can, but can the comments
Does anyone have comments? We had comments yesterday. So, okay, no comments? So then this meeting would be adjourned, and we will start at 1:30 at the convention center?
This meeting, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's adjourned.
we heard you. We will bring back at an appropriate time to report on the data.
Thank you.